So tonight, we're getting into an unboxing of Biblical Proportions. What's going on? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. Welcome back to the channel, or if it's your first time here, welcome. If you're interested in comic book unboxings, reviews, and all sorts of stuff in between, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post new content. Now, today I've got a really special unboxing for you. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, and I say a while, but it's only been up for like a month, right? But if you've been following the channel, if you're here for comics, then you already know I'm a big comic book nerd. One thing that's not as apparent from the channel is that I'm a believer, a Christian, a follower of Christ. There are a lot of people who like to say different things to refer to themselves as Christians, and I'm one of those. So something that doesn't really cross over as much as I feel like it could is Christianity and comic books. Now, there are a lot of legends and myths and all sorts of things that are referenced in comics that are straight from the Bible. For example, there's a character in the Sandman universe called Lucifer, right? If you read Spawn, Spawn is all about this battle between God and Satan, and each of them have their own agents that help with that, right? Like the Redeemer is someone who's on the opposite side of Spawn. Like there are a lot of things or tropes or things that are taken directly from the context of religion and stripped of that and put into comic books. So there's a lot more crossover than a lot of people think. But today I've got the ultimate crossover. So I've been seeing this ad from this company called Kingstone for like ages. Like as soon as I started reading comic books, and I guess because Facebook already knew I was a Christian based on some of my other preferences, I started getting targeted like immediately for this Kingstone Bible, this 3-volume set of Bibles, but it's all comics. It's the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation in comic book form. Now, back in the day, they had something called the Action Bible, and I really wanted one of those, but it wasn't a real Bible, right? So, like, my mom was like, nah. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking, and let's open this package. I'm super excited to dig into it, and let's do an overview. So, and I guess I spoiled what's inside. Usually, you would just open the box and then say it's such and such. But I mean, you guys saw the title of the video. You know what's going on. And as I'm opening this up, I do want to say, shout out to Kingstone for shipping this super quick. I bought this on Black Friday, like kind of on a whim, and it was at my door on Tuesday. So, super fast shipping. Oh, I'm excited. Like, I gotta show you guys the way this stuff is packaged. So obviously you see the cardboard on top, and the way this is shipped, it's like inside of foam. Super cool. All right, so here's one of them. All right, and they're just kind of back to back to back. So Kingstone Bible. This is volume 3, actually. So you'll see that there. Set that aside. Then we get into volume 2, I guess. Yep. Volume 2. And then lastly, we got volume 3. Or excuse me, volume 1. So I'm going to switch up the camera view and give you guys an overview of what's in here. These are exciting, but shout out to this packing and shipping system because there's no damage to these books at all. And that's kind of rare. It's rarer than you might expect in comics. But yeah, let's do the overview. All right, guys. So as you can see, I can barely fit all 3 of these volumes on this little TV tray at one time. But here we have the Kingstone Bible, Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. So I'm going to move Volumes 2 and 3 off to the side. Look how thick these are, by the way. These are some big boys. And let's just take a look at volume 1 real quick. Now, first I'll read the back. It says, the Kingstone Bible is a 3-volume series that contains the most complete graphic adaptation of the Bible ever done. Artists with years of experience at major comic book houses combined with evangelical writers and leaders have joined forces to produce this expansive and epic biblical adaptation. This is a chronological and detailed graphic adaptation of the Bible that provides scriptural references at the bottom of the pages that refer to direct biblical events. Kingstone encourages readers to compare the graphic adaptation against the actual words of Scripture. Our desire and prayer is that this graphic adaptation will draw readers, young and old alike, to a deeper devotion to the living God and a greater understanding of the Holy Scriptures. And of course, you can find more at kingstonecomics.com. This is not the only thing they have. They don't just have the Bible, but they actually have like a bunch of different books like that are more focused on specific characters or specific people in the Bible. I shouldn't say characters. That makes it sound like fiction, right? So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to open up like you would traditionally open an omnibus. And we'll kind of take a look at the artwork as we go. First of all, these books are not they're not thin at all. Like one of these is like the size of a regular Bible almost. I have a Bible somewhere close. I'll grab it in a second for a size comparison. As a matter of fact, Leia, can you bring me a Bible real quick? There should be one on one of those shelves over there. All right, so while I'm flipping through this, my daughter just brought me her Bible so we can do a size comparison. First, I have to say, this is great quality. First off, the artwork is amazing. I mean, I would compare it to any comics right now. They definitely didn't skimp on the artwork here. So yeah, I would compare this to anything at Marvel and DC. And it's great. Now, let's take a look at the binding. You've got this nice ribbon here. So there is a little bit of an eye. There's no issues with these pages laying flat at all. It's a sturdy book, so that's really cool. But anyway, so this is volume 1 of the Kingstone Bible. And just as a size comparison, let's see how thick that is. I mean, they're almost exactly the same size. So yeah, and that's just, like I said, it's 1 volume. So there's 3 volumes of this. So let's take a look at volume 2. All right, so now I got volume 2 here. Now, this isn't going to be like an in-depth review because we don't have time for that, but there is a guy whose review that I watched to help me kind of decide if I wanted to buy this or not. I believe his name is Jake Knows Bibles, and it's like, there's actually 2 guys on the video. I think they're both youth pastors, and they're so excited about the contents of this book. And I was like, yeah, I got to get it because they just made it seem really cool. I mean, you can hear that glue kind of breaking up as I open up these pages. But like I said, this isn't cheaply put together. Now, this set I got on sale. I think it was $49.99 is what they're asking for the set of 3 volumes. And I paid $10 to ship it, and that was priority mail 2-day shipping. So that was really cool. Look at that. Like I said, this artwork is just spectacular. Looks like this is like in the book of Daniel. Yeah, all this is just really, really cool. I guess I should like try to point out like some kind of famous Bible stories as we're looking through these, just so we know what's going on. So this is the story of Esther. Very cool. Who ends up saving the Jews. Oh, yep. See, we've made her queen. She doesn't look quite as young as she is in the Bible story, but still very cool. Like I said, this artwork is great. Like it rivals what you would see like in a normal comic book published by Marvel or DC these days. So that's volume 2. And let's take a look at volume 3, and then again I'll put them all together. I mean, look at this. So this is the 3-volume set. There's so much ground covered here. Now, something that's really cool is they actually put timelines in each of these books so that you know what's happening and when. So let me stretch this out, and then I'll show you the timeline at the beginning. So again, this is volume 3. Break up some of that glue there. It's important to stretch your spines out. In case you're not like a comic book fan, or you might just be here because it's a Bible. It's important to stretch the spine out in a book because that glue eventually will kind of harden. And if you didn't stretch it out before and kind of break it up, then what you'll get is like a big block of pages like kind of stuck together, and you can't really flip through it anymore. So it's important to take the time to do this. That's why I'm doing that. And like I said, as you can hear, as I'm opening these pages, you can hear them kind of cracking, that glue. Volume 3 is probably going to be my favorite volume because, I mean, it's got the Gospels, it's got the life of Jesus all up in here. And that's always my favorite part of the Bible. The Old Testament is really cool, but the Gospels are where it's at to me. But I mean, it's all the Bible. It's all God's word. It's all important. But I love seeing the life and teachings and miracles of Jesus because I feel like that's what the faith is about, and I feel like that's what we should be emulating, you know, especially in today's times. So I love just seeing the direct example that we have. All right, I mean, look at this. This is the crucifixion scene. And I mean, it's not quite as graphic as the Passion of the Christ, but it looks just as exciting as anything you would see in a regular comic book. Like, this is something that I feel like if you got for your kids, they would happily read all 3 volumes. And according to the author, it's a very faithful representation. This is not like one of those things like the Action Bible, for example, where it's like a few Bible stories, like the stories you might hear in Bible school or Bible class as a kid. But it's the entire Bible is represented across these 3 books. So here's the timeline for volume 3. And okay, so it's written Randy Alcorn, Ben Avery, and ayris. Pencilers. I mean, there's a huge team of people that worked on this. Inkers, colorists. I was trying to see if I'd recognize any of these names from like other comics. I don't, but that doesn't mean that they didn't work there. It just means I didn't read a bunch about them. So when were these printed? It actually doesn't say. Oh, 2nd edition from 2020. So this is relatively new. All right. So yeah, you've got a table of contents. I mean, you can see where they've like pulled all this stuff together. So like the story of Christ, they've pulled through all of the different Gospels. So you're not going to get like Matthew and then Luke and then Mark, or, you know, in the actual order. But there's going to kind of take, okay, what did Luke say? What did Matthew say? What did Mark say about the same things? Or what stories were included in one Gospel that were not included in another? And they make sure it's all represented here. The Revelation looks like a really interesting chapter as well. So here we go. We've got the Bible and history timeline. So we've got the birth of Christ, John the Baptist, Jesus' death and resurrection, that when the book of Revelation was written, 97 AD. Titus destroys a temple in Jerusalem. Emperor Nero's in here. The signing of the Magna Carta is in here. The Reformation, birth of the United States. Very cool. So there's a lot here. yeah, this is exciting. We're starting with Mary and Joseph. I'm doing way too much of an overview. This is not supposed to be as detailed as it is, but this book is just really exciting. Leia, come here real quick. What do you think about how this looks?
It's interesting. Like, when I heard you talking about it, I was like, this is going to be cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're definitely going to read through it together. I mean, there's a lot here. I mean,
it's actually going to be fun because I like comics, and I'm not really like that type of person who would just like spend my day reading a book like the Bible. But I would read like something like a comic, so it's also going to be fun.
Yeah, it definitely looks fun. And I mean, like I said, this looks comprehensive. It's not just, you know, the little kitty Bible stories. We've got the demon-possessed man. We've got
the Peter walking in the water.
Yeah, that's in here too. Let's see if we can find it. So this is the Sermon on the Mount here. Very cool. So we got parables here. Oh, I'm going to give half my possessions to the poor. So you got the rich man. Oh, wait, that's Zacchaeus. Very cool. All right. You said you want to see Peter walking on the water. Let's see. It's probably right around here. This is the Last Supper here. Praying in the garden. Oh, Peter cuts the dude's ear off for trying to take Jesus. Jesus on trial. Jesus with Pilate. The crucifixion. Yeah, so we went through a lot of this. But what's really cool is that a lot of times with these books, they stop with just the Bible stories. So you get like up until like the crucifixion, you might get like Paul and Silas in jail or something, but there's not a lot of substance after that. But here we go through the whole book of Acts. Very cool. And each section does have its own kind of bookends. That guy looks like Dr. Spock. So yeah, there's a lot here. There's a lot here to study. There's Paul and all his letters. Very cool, very cool. There's callbacks to the life of Jesus in here. Oh wait, that's like modern times. Yeah, that's like modern times. Let's see, what is this? So Jesus is saying you have faith if you aren't proving it by helping others. Will that kind of faith save anyone? So that's really cool. So there's stuff here to kind of remind you that this is still relevant today. It's not just about, you know, old stories and history. Very cool. So anyway, this has been a much longer video than it needs to be. Based on what I'm seeing here, I certainly would recommend. Now, because this isn't like made for like little kids, or I'm not saying it's like it's too mature for kids to read, but as a parent, you may want to look over some of these sections. Like we're in Revelation, so I'm going to stop since my daughter's over my shoulder. But yeah, definitely get these. Definitely check these out. These are amazing. I mean, just on my first glance, I'm very glad that I picked these up. And like I said, for $50 for this 3-volume set, Like, there's a lot here. There's a lot of substance here, and you're going to be glad you got it. So, and I'm proud to display this next to all of my other comics, which you guys have seen in other videos. Let's see what this spine does. Wow, that's
it's like a soldier guy.
Yeah, like a demon behind him. That's crazy. So yeah, very cool stuff.
It looks like there might be a fourth one.
No, there's not going to be a fourth one. They've got it all in these 3 volumes. All right, guys, it's the next day, and I'm still sitting here talking about these books. So before we go, I wanted to give you guys a bit of a size comparison with these. So obviously, this is the Kingstone Bible set. In case you didn't know from my overview, I am absolutely recommending you purchase these. So let's pull this back a little bit so you guys can see the whole table. So here we go. This is the Kingstone Bible. I'm going to go ahead and compare it to like a standard comic book. So here's a regular floppy issue of New Mutants. And as you can see, it's about the same size. It's a little bit bigger because of the board. But I mean, when you look at the pages are like almost exactly the same size. So it's a standard trim is what we would call that. So just to compare it to like one of the omnibus. So this is the Ultimate Marvel Omnibus that I unboxed last week. And as you can see, the Kingstone Bible is definitely shorter and a little bit smaller lengthwise. But one of these omnibus, the oversized artwork and all that, is usually about $100 retail. The fact that this 3-volume set was only $50 before shipping, that's amazing. That's an amazing price. That's an amazing value. I don't know how they afford to do it because these books are very much premium. They look good. They feel good. The paper quality is really thick. It's good. The binding is great. There's a nice ribbon. It's not overdone. These books are not cheaply made. Or at least they didn't skip out on any quality. So I highly recommend this set. If you're interested, go to kingstonecomics.com and purchase this. There's no affiliate link. There's no promo code. I just want you to have this because it's great. Let me know if you've bought it, what you think about it. If you haven't bought it and you want to buy it, quit playing and buy it. If you're not interested, that's absolutely cool. You can buy what you like. Make sure you read what you buy and be nice to others because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.